What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Black Lightning, Season 1, Episode 7, Equinox, the Book of Fate. So, things are starting to finally kick off a little bit this season, which is great because, frankly, it was starting to drag a little bit. Just the story was starting to get really, okay, we're stuck here, we're stuck here, we're stuck here, repeating the same storylines over and over again. Now we're actually starting to get somewhere. So I'm going to tackle this piece by piece because there is still quite a bit to talk about. That is one complaint that's still not left, is that it's still a very cluttered show. There's still way too many moving pieces and storylines going on. Although one of those storylines did die off, but then got replaced by another one. So let's talk about it. First of all, we'll talk about Anissa. We see in this one, she's trying to figure out what to do. Both of her parents are kind of telling her, look, this isn't what you should be doing. You should not be going out there trying to be a superhero. It costs you. It really is something that can hurt you down the line. Her dad is trying to keep her from following the path he did because he's seen where that leads. And her mother is trying to explain to her, this is why your father and I didn't work out, because, he became a superhero. We weren't able to make it work. I wanted him to stop. I got too scared for his life, and it wasn't able to work out. Which I find ironic because it feels like once he stopped being a superhero, they still wouldn't work out anyway. But moving on from that, she finally realizes that she wants to help people and screw the consequences to herself because she sees the good that comes out of what a Black Lightning does. And so, I can understand that. It makes a lot of sense. But then she finds out that Pope guy, David Pope, I think is his name, the one that was helping her grandfather, he ends up dead. And that's when she realizes that the people around her can get hurt as well. And that's when she decides, okay, never mind. She calls Grace at the end of the episode. And then they have a little conversation between her and Jefferson that gets cut off by Henderson calling. Which, I haven't talked about Henderson that much. That's because he's just not that interesting. I mean, first of all, I've already talked about the actor, Damon Gupton, that plays him. He's still just a lifeless robot whenever he talks. But aside from that, he just feels like that one cop that Black Lightning is close to, that is going to go back and forth between, oh, we can trust him, oh, no, we can't trust him, oh, no, yes, we can trust him. I'm sorry, wait, that was way, way too interested. We can't trust him. Oh, wait, yes, we can trust him. No, never mind, we can't trust him. That's all it feels like he's doing, is just back and forth in this episode. And so, by the end of this episode, once again, we see him not trusting Black Lightning because some of Tobias's men go in with electricity guns and kill Lady Eve. And that is one storyline that feels like it's at its end now. I still feel like we haven't really learned everything there is to learn because I didn't talk about this much in the last episode review because I was kind of running out of time and had to squeeze everything in. But apparently Eve and Gamby had this little thing going where they were kind of working together to keep, I guess, everything in balance, I suppose. Like Gamby was working with Jefferson and Black Lightning to help protect people from criminals, while Gamby was also working with Lady Eve. She was working more the criminal underworld and keeping things moving because I guess they have this idea that you have to have a balance of good and evil to keep everything running smoothly. And so she would run the criminal side of it where he would run kind of the hero side of it, and just balancing each other out, never really having one overpower the other. So, with all that being said, we see a lot more of them together in this episode. In fact, she actually has Gamby go and take out Joey Toledo, Tobias's right-hand man, and then leave a box of dust on his chest to sort of send a message. So, obviously that message is sent, but Tobias isn't going to have any of that, so he then sends his own men, and that's why they show up with the electricity guns, kill Lady Eve off, and thus also frames Black Lightning and sort of, I guess, puts him out of the picture as well. So it's almost like killing two birds with one stone. However, one thing that I feel like will sort of help out a bit is at the same time that they're attacking Lady Eve, Black Lightning is attacking Tobias and his people. He does manage to get one shot off on Tobias and sort of weaken him for just a little bit, but then his assassin lady goes to take him on, and then this other guy goes and starts shooting, and then Black Lightning zaps him, and as he does, his gun starts firing off, and one of the bullets ends up hitting his Tobias' sister in the back, and then she ends up dying. And so this is kind of a dual meaning, because on the one hand, not only does it give Tobias more reason to hate Black Lightning and to want to kill him off and want him out of the picture, but it also gives Jefferson a chance to reflect and be like, I have no right to tell Anissa that she can't do this, because, I mean, I'm completely letting my emotions run myself right now whenever I'm going after Tobias and ends up killing a lady. I mean, that's something that does need to be focused on, because his little revenge plot against Tobias is sort of clouding his judgment right now. And you can kind of harken it back to Star Wars and say, oh, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to darkness, and all that stuff. But the truth is that whenever he is angry like this and making rash decisions, it does lead to people being hurt. And that is something that they can show right now. So I'm hoping they take that storyline a little bit and sort of change his way of thinking, not necessarily on a revenge quest or I'm going to go kill him quest, and more of a I need to track him down, I need to bring him to justice. And justice is not necessarily killing him. Now, will he end up dying in the end? There's a chance. I don't think this is going to be a villain that they keep around till next season. But I don't think it's going to be Jefferson killing him off. I think, if anything, he's probably going to end up killing himself, doing something stupid, if I had to guess. I don't know. I don't know where this season's going to go end, and that is something that does have me interested, because most of these other superhero shows, you can kind of get a sense of where it's going to end up at the end of the season. With the villains being stopped, the hero winning the day, that type of thing. You can kind of get a sense of how it's going to end. But with this show, I really don't know how it's going to end, because there's so many moving pieces. I really don't know what it's going to happen. How it's going to all end this season. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to go on as we approach, I suppose, the last part of the season. I also have to wonder, too, how many episodes they're going to have for this first one, because Legends of Tomorrow, when it first came on, it sort of did the same thing that Black Lightning did, come in halfway through the other two CW shows, halfway through their seasons, and then just went out to the end and kind of had a half of a season instead of a full one. So I'm wondering if they're going to do the same thing here, but we'll see. Aside from that, though, a couple other things going on. We see people the two guys being tracked down by Lady Eve that tried to kill Lynn because Gamby requested it. So once again, sort of showing more of their partnership. These two guys stepped out of line, so now Gamby's asking Lady Eve to, put that in its place. On top of that, Tobias is getting too much of a big head, so that's why Gamby gets sent to sort of put him in his place and take out his right-hand man. I'm trying to think. There's something else. I think that's about it for this episode, actually. They kind of keep it trimmed down a little bit. It focuses a little bit more on a few, like the few stories that actually are pertaining to the main plot this season, which are Lady Eve, Tobias, Jefferson, and then like Anissa. And those are kind of the ones that are getting the most focus, and deservedly so, Tobias and Lady Eve are kind of like the antagonist for this season, but now Tobias looks more like the main antagonist. Jefferson obviously is your hero, but then on top of that, you've got Anissa possibly going to be part of his team. Maybe they're going to be working together at some point. So, it does really focus on those four characters the most, and I do like the fact that they're doing that. Now that Lady Eve is out of the picture, I do kind of wonder if maybe Gamby is going to reveal what was going on to Jefferson. Maybe we'll finally get a bit more backstory there, because it does seem like he was pretty close with her. So I do want to know why. I want to know what's going on with that. Why are they so close? Why all of this stuff? But the last thing, like I said, they did add another story after taking out Lady Eve. I was like, oh, trimming down the plot. That's awesome. And then all of a sudden, the one guy that Tobias killed in the jail cell, I can't remember his name now, but he's the one that he had that one guy go. He tried to keep that one kid from messing with Jefferson's daughters, and then he doesn't. He kidnaps them both, and then he kills that guy, and then ultimately Tobias kills him in the process. And so, it was kind of a throwaway character. He felt like some guy to sort of introduce Tobias into the plot, one of his underlings. Well, all of a sudden he wakes up in a hotel room. There's this lady that's just like, do you believe in the revival or whatever? and then like absorbs into his chest and becomes a tattoo on his chest. I'm like, what? What is going on with this? What? So yeah, they're throwing in another random plot line that I don't know if this is going to tie in with the main plot or if it's just going to be sort of a side quest. But that's it's kind of one of those things that I think a lot of these CWDC shows sort of fall into. They fall into this habit of wanting to do things that will sidetrack the main plot because they know if it just turns into, oh, Jefferson's going to go stop Tobias, they know it would take not that long, realistically. Gamby tracks down Tobias, he finds out his location, Jefferson goes there maybe with a little bit of a plan to track him down, and then it ends in a fight. That would be pretty much it if there were nothing to distract him from that. And so it's like they want to throw things in his way to distract him, Anissa getting powers, Lynn doing this research and then getting nearly kidnapped and taken by these two guys, and all of a sudden David Pope dies and all these other things happen. Henderson thinks that now he's a vigilante, which means it's going to put a hindrance on him trying to do his job. So all these little things are just things that are sidetracking the main plot to make sure that it doesn't just go straight there and done. We got to take all these little side roads, and I've seen it done before, so I'm not going to say like, oh, I can't believe they're doing this, but at the same time, it is becoming a bit of a cliche to the point where whenever he woke up in the hotel bed, and all of a sudden this lady like, oh, do you believe in the revival? I'm like, oh, great, side quest. So that's about it, though, for this episode. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this one? Let me know. We can talk about it and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe. Future Black Lightning reviews. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.